Burke's Revenge. As the airplane of mashed potatoes was fed into the child's mouth by its two loving parents, they heard a loud thud. A crackling came from the roof, and the structure collapsed. The parents were crushed to death by a log support beam. The little 1-year-old half-orc Cyclops is left alone in his high chair to cry. The next morning, a tall man with a thin, long handlebar mustache rides up in a carriage wearing a suit, top hat, and monocle. The warden of the new Health Technologies Incorporated, also known as HTI, facility, rides over until he sees the debris of the broken cabin. As he approaches, he smells the putrid scent of death and approaches the building. He sees the crushed parents and orphaned child and uses this opportunity to earn some money. "Oh, look at you. Come, I shall run tests on you. You will make me rich," the man gawked as he pulled him out of his high chair. He sets him gently in the carriage. He rides all the way to the lab and gives the kid to the scientists. The lab workers put the boy in a cart and push him through the hallway. Lined against the hallway is a packaged lab equipment and empty rooms. The lab workers stop at a room that is equipped with lab equipment. In the next room over, he sees another young child, maybe 5 or 6, with all of his limbs missing and jetpack for legs. The boy in the cart wonders, "Am I going to become a monster too?" They seat the boy down and give him a sedative. After the child passes out, they go to work. They rip apart the child, tearing out its digestive system and replacing it with a bioengineered one that increases metabolism tenfold. They shred up his skin, replacing it again with yellow acid-proof one that the body would accept. Continuing on, they alter the head to make the mouth larger and push the brain up into an antenna. Once they were finished. When the child woke up, he felt unbearable pain. He cried and screamed at the torture of living for hours until he passed out, only to wake up and feel pain again. Over time, the child became numb to the pain and was able to walk again. The scientists gave him a jumpsuit labeled Test Subject B, Burke. Burke was always hungry. He would still be hungry after finishing his ration in 1 or 2 bites. Burke always liked to find new and exciting rooms in the lab, peeking in and out. Burke tried to walk out the doors, but the security guards wouldn't let him go outside. "You're a monster. Think about how people would react if they saw you," they would always say. "You'll never be accepted outside. We created you. We will keep you safe. Going outside is only going to hurt you more." 14 painful years later, Burke accepted the fact that he was a monster and couldn't ever leave. Burke would wander the halls, looking upon the horrible operations they did to creatures. He was numb to the horror now. He had seen so many terrible things that he never felt fear anymore. He was so hungry and bored all the time. Burke knew he couldn't live like this and couldn't do anything about it. One day, a stroller was brought into the lab, and Burke walked over to see who the unfortunate victim would be. It was another half-orc like him. Burke remembered the pain that fateful 14 years ago. Burke did not want this child to feel the same pain as he did, so he went psycho. He socked the scientist who had the stroller and crushed the other 2 scientists' heads together. The security guard sniped him with a tranquilizing dart and dragged his limp body to solitary. Burke woke up in a room in which every surface was the same. Padded walls. Burke was starving and frustrated. Thoughts went through Burke's head like a river. How could they do this to people? Why are they doing these things? What is wrong with me? Am I a monster? I am a monster. I can kill people with no remorse. I am a monster, and I don't care what people think anymore. I won't stand for this abuse any longer. Burke suddenly felt an emotion HTI thought they had suppressed in him. Anger. Burke was blinded to reasoning and a literal bloodthirsty rage. Burke began to claw at a weak spot in the wall he had observed when walking through the lab. He bashed the wall a few times and gave one final crushing blow that collapsed the cell. Burke was now free. Nearby security guards saw this but had no time to react. Burke picked one of them up and smashed his body against the other one, knocking both security guards out. Burke was feeling hungry and he didn't want to leave a mess, so Burke ate those bones and all. He sprinted to the main cells and knocked over the passing security guards with a resounding slap. He kicked down every cell until all 20 inmates were free. "Thank you, Burke," they all shouted as they sprinted for the exit. Burke walked over to the recovering security guards and slapped them again before devouring all their bodies. After wreaking havoc on HTI, Burke was all in at this point. Burke searched for the little half-orc they had taken. He had searched the cells, but he didn't find them. He walked over to the little experimentation rooms and began busting down the doors. The first two didn't have the kid, so he ate the members inside. The third one was completely empty. Burke was giving up hope until he found the fourth one, which had the kid inside. Burke first knocked out the first two scientists and ate them both right in front of the third scientist. "You have two options," Burke glared at the third scientist. "One, you can take care of the kid until he is independent and never speak of what happened to here. Or two, well, I think we both know what two is." The scientist just nodded and ran out of the room. Burke still had unfinished business. He wanted to make sure there were no other survivors. He searched every room until he found someone and ate them like a little snack. It was no longer HTI hunting Burke. Burke was hunting the HTI. After several rooms, he felt satisfied and went to the only other survivor left, the warden. The warden had retreated to a panic room in case one of the experiments went horribly wrong. Footsteps echoed through the lifeless lab. The emergency lights were on after Burke bashed in the transformer. Bloodstains covered Burke's mouth and shirt. The smell of death reminded Burke of what happened that night 14 years ago. Burke approached the concrete door and started pummeling it with his massive hands. The door bashed down and he saw the warden quivering in his fancy suit. 14 years ago, you brought me to this dreaded place to make me a monster, you monster. Now it's about time to pay for all those horrible things you did to me and my friends. Ah ha 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 ha! Burke laughs menacingly. Burke picks up the warden and eats him in one big gulp. Burke walks out of the now lifeless building and throws a match at the pile of flammable chemicals and burns the place where he had so many terrible memories. From that moment on, Burke was free.